Today we're going to be looking at the fastest growing blockchains in cryptocurrency. The most important part about this is basically data and fundamentals, where the likely next best projects, coins, tokens, whatever will be or already are. And we're going to do an update on cryptocurrency airdrop hunting, which is, I cannot understate this, the easiest way in participating with these new and oftentimes novel blockchains. It cannot be understated how useful DeFi Llama is. If you're not using DeFi Llama, you're just missing out. We can kind of ignore Tron. I'm just gonna leave it at that today. And we look at these chains, right? We look at the top 10 chains. We see Ethereum up there as top dog, expected. Arbitrum has cemented themselves as a very serious force here. Polygon doesn't want to get left behind, and they are actively developing and pivoting in order for that to not be the case. Emphasis on the Polygon ZK EVM and the fact that they're moving their original Polygon layer 2 chain to basically fully on their newer ZK chain, which just is basically better technology. Obviously, Optimism, optimistic rollups. If you followed along on the channel, you got that airdrop, you got the Arbitrum airdrop. Not trying to pat myself on the back here, but I cannot understate that the VoskCoin community stays winning, okay? Because we work hard and we put the time in. Obviously, there's Coinbase Base on here. This is a very exciting chain. It got a lot of buzz in the beginning. Some people are already kind of forgetting about it. Not the chain to forget about. And we're just looking at the top chains here, top 10 chains or so. But there are even more chains that are very interesting for many reasons. Like one, we've talked a lot about historically, it's ZK Sync era. This is just a very clear incoming cryptocurrency airdrop. But before we really dive into ZK Sync era, I want to remind you, as you can see on here, Optimism had another piece of their airdrop. So if you participated, if you delegated and you had enough activity, whatever their criteria is, then you will have received another OP token airdrop. The best way to check this is you grab your wallet address, whether that's on MetaMask or whatever, you paste it into the block explorer, click search, and then you can just simply look on chain. So make sure you check that. Make sure you're paying attention because things are happening rapidly in the space. Even though the market's lackluster, it's slumped, people are negative, they're disconnected, a lot of capitulation, but the key projects, they just keep plugging along. So let's look at ZK Flow. All right, so this is so cool. I wish this was on every chain, but different versions of it. You can see your interactions, volume, fees spent, unique days, all this stuff. So let's open up Orbiter Finance. And let me just show you, this is like just basic airdrop hunting. And if you're not familiar with ZK Sync, watch our intro guide and all that stuff. But what Orbiter Finance is, it's a bridge. In this scenario, I can take any chain and I can just bridge things around as well as a few other tokens. So we're talking about ZK Sync era, so we want that chain in the equation. So let's send some coin from ZK Sync era to another chain, maybe a chain we're actively airdrop hunting, like starknet. So my little starknet wallet wants to fire up over here, so I'll log into that. I'll get that connection, and let's just send 0.11 ETH across the way, confirm and send. The nice thing about Orbiter Finance and most dApps, decentralized applications these days, will just bump me across to the right chain. So it's like, hey, you're on Base, but you need to be on ZK Sync to perform a transaction on ZK Sync. Confirm, done, and now I've got some ETH going from ZK Sync era to starknet. What is this, right? These are unique actions, transactions on different protocols, on different days, on different chains. There's a couple of things that are worth checking out, especially in recent developments on ZK Sync, like BigInt.co. I'll drop a link down to this one in the video description below. But you can punch in your NFT handle, right? I've got OX VoskCoin, right? And then I'll go ahead and get Tails a handle too, right? So I search that one's available. So I'll click buy. They charge 0.004 ETH for it, which is about $5, $6. So I'll confirm that buy, and basically I'm paying a fee to this protocol. I get the name. You can consider this airdrop hunting with BigInt. And again, it's just another interaction here on chain. If you really want to do a lot of airdrop hunting for not a lot of money, this new universal chains, this OmniRock thing is an easy way to go about it. So basically you mint a rock here for like $1, right? This is nothing like EtherRock where Logan Paul was out there dropping ridiculous money on a NFT rock. So we mint a rock. Now we've got a new rock. We're on the ZK Sync era chain. And we can pick a chain we haven't interacted with recently or never, right? So let's go ahead and choose Kanto. And it's not the cool Kanto, like the best region, the OG region in Pokemon. All right, it's Kanto with a C. We'll bridge, very low fees here, very simple, very straightforward. You see this is basically going to cost me $1 more or less, and some of the fees get refunded here. The bottom line is that it's relatively cheap if we're considering we're going to throw $50 around in fees in the pursuit of potentially thousands of dollars in free cryptocurrency tokens in a future airdrop. As always, like, this isn't financial advice. I don't know if this is going to happen for sure, all that stuff, but it's happened historically, and these protocols need to decentralize themselves, and this is an absolutely incredible way for them to do that. So I just sent my rock. Now I could switch over to that chain. I could send that rock to another chain. I would just simply click up here, go to that chain, and then send that rock on its way. That way you don't need to keep minting rocks, and you can just keep bridging the same rock. I keep saying rock, I shouldn't call it that. It's an NFT. You keep sending the NFT around. That NFT is a transaction, right? I mean, it's really just all that simple. So now we can go back to ZK Flow, and we'll see my interactions are up. Orbiter Finance has not updated yet, but when you have a recent interaction, it updates your activity. That was a lot of information about ZK Sync era, and we did a couple little airdrop hunting touches along the way, like Starknet and Kanto and so forth. But let's move on and let's look at Base. Base is basically, think of it like an Optimism fork. It's an optimistic rollup for/by Coinbase. They're earning a ton of money with the fees, basically owning and running and operating a successful protocol, because Base already is successful. They have over $300 million in TVL, or total value locked on chain. There's $100 million of stablecoins on that chain. In the last 24 hours, they've earned 26 grand in fees. After expected expenses, their revenue is over 12 grand. These market conditions are nothing short of terrible, okay? But let's just take that data out. Over a year, they're earning over $4 million with a side project in terrible market conditions. And it's very new. That's already a win. They don't have a ton of protocols on chain, but a few of these chains, have some serious progress so far. One of those that's surprising is going to be Compound. Let me switch my network over real quick. It's not going to switch for me. So I'll go to my MetaMask. I will click here. And they've added this search bar, which is very helpful. I'll punch in Base, and now I'm here on Base. So you can see that I put just a little bit of Ethereum in here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and do that again. This is basically putting $1 into their protocol, $1.57. The fee to do this is essentially nothing. That's how cheap this chain is. And that gives me an interaction here on chain. If you're not familiar with Compound, basically you can lend coins, you can borrow coins, you earn interest on the coins you lend, you pay interest on the coins you borrow. And it's a protocol that's been around for years, and it's done pretty well so far. Those aren't my favorite types of protocols to interact with, because you earn a low percentage, and it could have a huge exploit that could basically just get you blown up.
Hey guys, it's Ms. Vosk here to tell you about today's video sponsor, Chimpsy. Chimpsy is a cryptocurrency project whose goal is to help save animals. They're currently working on an initiative to help neuter hundreds of abandoned cats and dogs in Ukraine. Chimpsy is in stage 14 of their pre-sale, which means tokens are 0.125 cents. The price of the token goes up at each stage, and this stage ends in just a few days. Users can also receive free bonus tokens during pre-sale. Chimpsy has been KYC'd by Cyberscope and audited by Solidity Finance. To learn more about Chimpsy, check out the link in the video description below. This is not financial advice. Please do your own research before investing.
Let's look at Aerdrome, central trading and liquidity marketplace on Base. Okay, cool, simple, sure enough. We look at the dashboard, right? And you can see I've got an empty dashboard here. How do we change that? We can deposit and stake liquidity. That's one thing. We don't have any of these Arrow tokens. Or actually we do. I did buy some of those. And then we can take some ETH. I use the available amount, it'll match it in Ethereum. So we'll go ahead and allow this, because if we can't trust Aerdrome with their own Aero token, then what's the point? That was very quick. Now we'll go ahead and deposit. Actually, I said that was, oh, done. So we deposited our liquidity. So now let's go ahead and stake our deposit. Staking your deposit is what people also think of and consider like farming, liquidity farming. Basically, you add some coins and you earn a fee on those coins. But you can take your credit for that liquidity you've put into the system, and instead of earning fees on the active trades, you are incentivized by them even more so to basically put your liquidity in. What happens in this scenario is you normally earn just their protocol's token on top. That's the real simple way to kind of try to rush through it. It's a very technical thing that we could talk about for 30 minutes really, but that's the gist of it. Instead of just earning the fees from the trades, it's incentivized, and the emission rate in their own token for this liquidity provision is 170%. 170% is a higher return than we would have seen with just lending the coins. They are incentivizing this by basically the distribution or inflation of their own token. And of course, there's the infamous Friend.tech. Your network is your net worth. Friend.tech gained huge momentum real quick, right? Basically, users claim earnings. It associates social tokens with your social net worth, if you will. You know, content creators, celebrities, influencers, all that stuff. Basically, it gave everyone an instant platform to deploy their own social tokens. And a lot of people cashed in on that. There was a lot of activity. And it has had some staying power where it's still considered beta. It's still hard to get into. And if you look at their annualized fees, $263 million. It's a protocol that's pulled over $131 million in revenue, half of that expectation. It's a TVL of over $44 million. You see explosive growth to begin, and it has completely leveled out and maintained. If this was a bull run, this would have been nuts. This would have been so popular. And the fact that it still was created a quick frenzy in bear market conditions is impressive and noteworthy. Looking at the top chains and ranking them by TVL, total value locked, right? We have several chains up here in the billions, right? But let's look at their 1 month change, because it's been a tough month in cryptocurrency. We have the Bitcoin chain, which I'll talk about that here in a second. But generally, most protocols are negative, but there are some winners along the way. People feel very strongly about Solana. They love it or they hate it or whatever. That's up almost 10%, 9% in the last 30 days in TVL. And getting your TVL up in these market conditions is impressive. Gnosis has had really impressive growth. It's 79%. Cardano up 5%. It's not bad. And honestly, in these market conditions, not really losing in a way is winning. Polygon going down 11, it's not great. Arbitrum is up a little bit, that's good performance. Avalanche, slightly up, good. Chronos down slightly, not bad. And it's interesting to see some data analytics on Bitcoin. This isn't some shitcoin Bitcoin wannabe clone knockoff, whatever. Like, this is wrapping things under Bitcoin's network and side chains and protocols and so forth. So we can see Lightning here with the TVL of 150 million, and the Lightning network increased the TVL on that basically payment chain by 16% in the last month. Thor chain has basically been a workaround decentralized exchange for Bitcoin, up 15%. I mean, across the board down here, all of these are up over the last month. But as much as I love Bitcoin, number 4 is ranked well. It's kind of boring. Part of Bitcoin's beauty is that it's boring. I could talk about this stuff all day. There's so much to talk through and run through, but I just kind of wanted to do a quick crash course on some chains that are doing well, that are growing, airdrops to look out for, and a crash course on participation on those things. But on that note, I'm gonna head out. It's time for me to go check on my CAO, that's my Chief Airdrop Officer, Tails Vosk. We're on 10 seconds on Tails on every video. And you may be thinking, where's Dogecoin? Where's that Doge chain? I'm wondering too. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.
Money let me buy it. Don't you see that? Bye.